Alrighty. Yes. Hello, my darling Fumi Nation. How are you? How are we? My name is Fumidesaluvold. For those of you that are stopping by for the very first time, you're so very welcome indeed. Are we loving the beat? Are we loving the fit? Darlings, when I tell you all kinds of shenanigans up in these streets, I was invited to go over to H&M. Well, I do cover a lot of this stuff, as well as Zara Ambassador, but H&M collabed with Paco Rabanne. And Paco Rabanne came out with some pieces that I am living and loving. And so this is a skirt, my darlings. Let me show you the back as well. It's buttoned all the way. And this is metal mesh. I said to myself, could I get away with it? Could I get away with it? And I said to myself, if you make it kind of grown up, you can get away with it. The heels are by Zara Ambassador, and Papa, my father, bought me these fabulous heels. I live and love them. The shirt is also by H&M. I am wearing a size small in the shirt because I really wanted it to be nice and fitted, and it has all of this applique, which is so beautiful. I am living and loving the beautiful sleeves as well. It's just absolute gorgeousness. The makeup is by Juvia's Place. As a matter of fact, I should show you the palette. So the palette, the Saharan palette, the absolute original. And I just used a lot of black, and then I used this shade right there. And that's what you see popping on my lid. I also have Invo by Juvias, and that's what I have in the center. And then I just toned it down a bit with Lady. And that is it. Gorgeousness. And then I have Nubian Nude also from Juvias. Discount code Fumi. It will always be Juvias for me in my metal mesh skirt. And it's comfortable to wear. It's not uncomfortable. Okay, for those of you that might be thinking, oh my God, or whatever, you know, it's uncomfortable. It absolutely isn't uncomfortable. And it's longer in the back. There you go. So it's a longer tail in the back, and it's kind of short in the front. Beautiful. I did not think I would like it, and I absolutely love it. Love it, love it, love it. Very Christmassy, very holiday. Alrighty. So why are we here, my darlings? Jeezy had a deep dive conversation with Nia Long. It was beautiful. It was a podcasty kind of setup, and it wasn't so much an interview. It was more of a conversation between the two. They have both separated from their spouses. From our understanding, Jeezy was the one that left Jeannie Mai, and Nia Long got the rude awakening when she found out that her husband had been a team player with someone else. And so it was so refreshing. They were very transparent. What I saw in the tabloids was, oh, these are the reasons why Jeezy couldn't save his marriage, this, that, and the third. I did not see it that way. I really took a lot away from it that I have personally experienced. That has been my growth. And I feel that this is a conversation for everybody to have. For everybody to have, to apply into their own lives. Everything about your relationship, your career, your aspect in life, it comes from you. Everything comes from you. From the little you, to the mid you, to the older you. The other day I was having a conversation with my brother, and he said something that was profound. Because we are 3 kids. And he was saying that each one of us, me, my brother, my sister, we had different parents. And I said, what do you mean? And he said, because when our parents had each and every one of us, they were at different stages of their lives. And there were different expectations and goals and growth that they had and acquired when they had me. And they had different challenges, aspects, growth when they had my brother, and the absolute difference for my sister. They were completely three different people. We are different people as we grow older. We get better and we learn. And so what I learned from Jeezy, point blank, period. He had a rough childhood. He was South Central LA, as well as near, as a matter of fact. And he struggled with an inner turmoil because he was just out there on the streets. And he saw gun violence and he was desensitized. And somewhere along that line, the little boy in him never grew. The boy just stopped growing and he just flipped into survival mode. And from my understanding, I think he was depressed for a lot of his life, not only it, for a lot of his life, because he just was not connected to himself. His mother was a huge part. As a lot of us, we want to please, and we want to please our parents. We need their approval. And so you go out in this world constantly seeking their approval. And she was sick, she had dementia, and he went to go and see her, and she still would not go down that rabbit hole with him and give him the accolades that he so desperately wanted. And he had a tumultuous relationship with the mother, as Nia Long had a tumultuous relationship with her dad. And it was fantastic as to when do you hang in there, when do you let go. And Jeezy also said, real men don't cheat. It's a fact. And you might be saying, Fumi, I couldn't break it down. What do y'all really kind of mean? It's the same thing with real women. Stand up, steady, strong women, we don't cheat. No, we don't have to. Either we walk away from a relationship that's not serving us, A, or we're happy in our relationship, B. End of. But alpha male girls, women, me, I have to be happy where I am. And if I'm not, I walk. Why? Because it's a reflection of us. It's almost, it's really self-confidence. When you're really confident in who you are, and you have discovered who you are, and you like who you are, good and bad, it doesn't matter, good and bad, then you are at a place, where you just won't cheat because you're cheating on yourself, because it's almost like you are lowering your standards. I personally would never cheat on my husband. I will never go to a little itty bitty grimy hotel, be sneaking around, trying to hide. It's belittling of me. It's really more about me than about my husband. I could not bring myself down to that level of cheating, of hiding, of lying. It's below me because I carry myself of such high standard that you just could not see me in such unsavory spaces and places. That I got. I really strongly advise that you all go and you watch this podcast. You will learn a lot and it will prick you. It will prick you because you're going to be relatable to a lot of things. Another was mental health amongst the Black community. We have had to be the strongest in the face of racism, in the face of slave trade, in the face of so many things. You have to work twice as hard for less the pay. We are tired of being strong. I feel that there is strength in vulnerability. I remember there was a teacher that we didn't get along. He didn't like me, I didn't like him. And I remember I'll be hurt by things that he said or did, and I refused to cry in front of him. I said I will never give him that. I will never give him the satisfaction of seeing me weak. And where I still stand by that, I also realized that I was just doing that throughout my life. I found it very uncomfortable to be vulnerable until my later years, when I realized that it was absolutely, and if not, very much part of strength. I saw that in Ula and I was shocked. And instantly, what I had been carrying, he had let go years ago. And he was free. And I was like, oh wow, oh wow. I say this because if you are struggling and you are suffering, you should never ever think that you should do it in silence. You should go to a safe space, to somebody who makes you feel comfortable to open up to. Because a problem shared is a problem halved. You get the advice without the judgment. You can make that decision. You know who you're comfortable with around and who you're safe around. Because you should never carry a burden that long and that heavy on your own. Of course, they talked about relationships, and Nia said it wouldn't be, it would be very unfair and incomplete in many ways without talking about his most recent relationship. And he said that he couldn't be saved. I think that Jeezy now really loves himself. He loves who he is. And he's going to protect that at all costs. I believe the relationship could have been salvaged. But Jeezy has been so damaged. And he has walked that walk to repair himself and to save little Jeezy, that nothing in his path is up for compromise. He just cannot compromise that little Jeezy after finding him. He said he had a dream and he went into this house and there was that little boy in the corner that was crying. He's like, why are you crying? He said, come on out, let's play. And they played all day and they came inside and little Jeezy leaned on him and said, I love you. And that was what I was talking about, that little Jeezy was the Jeezy that he had left somewhere. And he had to be a man and he had to wear a mask and he had to be all of these things. And he never really had a childhood. That boy did not have a childhood. And I think for a lot of us, if you see, for example, the 12-year-old Fumi should walk by me, I think I would cry. I think I would burst into tears at her because I would have wanted somebody to tell me, it's going to be okay. It's going to be okay. I grew so much taller than my other friends in school. I was very tall. I was literally this height, maybe 1 inch lower. And I had a full bust. And I was awkward. I stammered. I couldn't get a sentence out. The irony that I'm out here in the streets doing this is hilarious. It was a wonderful teacher in acting class who really saw me through, of which I am absolutely and totally grateful. I didn't know if I was going to be happy. That was what was huge for me. Would I be happy? Because I wasn't. And I wish I could play with her, laugh with her, teach her all kinds of things, but to really have given her the confidence and the reassurance that she would have been okay. And I protect myself, but I do it differently. The protection that I give myself is the love. I now understand Jeezy a lot. Jeezy, perhaps I might say, had no rhyme or reason even getting married to Jeannie. But we are not here to say what coulda, woulda, shoulda. I think in this case, our Father up above does not make mistakes. I don't think he makes mistakes. I think that it played out the way it was to play out. And it really was for Jeannie to have a child. Having a child with Jeezy was the gift. And her husband will come further down in life. She should be tremendously happy and grateful for this wonderful child that she has, and let her move on amicably in her life and co-parent and be mom and dad to this wonderful girl if these two could not be husband and wife. It was refreshing to see Nia Long. Nia Long comes from my neck of the woods, a beautiful woman, wonderful actress, and to have been cheated upon by this man who lied on her repeatedly because he was a repeat offender with so many different relationships. And to see her and to have found peace, to say, you know what, I don't wish you bad, but I am done with you because I have to have peace for me. That is huge. Divorce is scary. Divorce is horrible. Divorce is a death. You have to mourn that person because that person is no longer your husband. That husband is dead. The person is alive, but your husband is dead in him. The husband you saw in him is dead. And you have to pick up your life. And Nia Long is relatively still very young. She's only in her 50s. And as we very well know, our 50s these days is our new 30s. We're juicy, baby. We are ripe, we are matured, and we are nurtured. And so she's thrust back into this world. And does she want to go down that path again? It's entirely up to her. But I think what adds to her beauty was the vulnerability, was the fact that she sat here and she just called it like it is. It hurts. And she cried. She wept a couple of times because Jeezy got those soft spots. You do feel sorry for yourself because the self that has worked so hard to be this wonderful mother, this wonderful wife, is undeserving of the way you are treated. And that's fact. And I say this to all women that are going through divorce and you thought it was forever. The goodness in you will persevere and you will always get yours back. I love this deep dive. I loved that Jeezy said something of which I have always said. You got to do what you got to do, even though we know what you're doing is not exactly You got to do what you got to do. Those are the streets. But even as you're doing them, I know there's good in you. Jeezy is still growing. He's finding himself. He's liking himself. It was unfortunate with Jeannie and Jeezy. I think Jeannie also could have kind of studied Jeezy to know him, to understand him. Because what I'm beginning to see, a lot of these relationships that are breaking up was around COVID. When you're at home, when you couldn't do anything. And so you just went about and said, you know what, I'm in love, it's him, it's this. On top of which, Jeezy's mother died during COVID. Wrong time. You have to be able to really stand firm and say to yourself, will I love this person on days that I don't like them? Will I continue to love this person on days that I cannot stand them? Marriage is tough. Marriage is hard. But you have to be willing to show up every day, a step and repeat, and take care of the responsibilities. And the responsibilities will always, number one, be the children, because they did not bring themselves here. That you are willing, perhaps, to sacrifice a little bit of your happiness. Sometimes you have to show up because today might not have been a good day. This week might not have been a good week. This month might not have been a good month. But the other days, weeks, and months that follow will, because it's up and down. Let us have these fabulous deep dive conversations. How we feel, what scares us. Let's talk about that. All right, my darlings, do not forget to like, to subscribe, hit the notification button, and I will see you guys when? I'll see you guys sooner than later. All of my love.